Okay, just wanted to show you this quick demo of our EasieOps portal that is configured for Connecticut-specific legislative tracking and AI workflows. So, a couple sections here that I'll go through quickly. So first of all, you have your activity feed, which shows different activities that your users are doing. So commenting, creating tasks, publishing reports, etc. But then you also have your legislative movements. So your fiscal notes, your uncalled amendments, new bill text, etc. So it's very exciting and interesting to get all these things in a single source of truth in this activity feed. And what's cool about this is you can also create custom analytics around these things. You also have a notification bar where you can look at that information as well, and it's all clickable. So in addition to that, you've got your contact section where you can see your different stakeholders and the companies that they represent. So in some cases, you're a group that has different members and clients, and they're all at these different companies, and they have different sort of agendas, and you have the different contacts that are associated with them. What you have here is your CRM-like functionality for tracking these different groups. Other times, you're just a single organization with your own kind of goals, and there's not necessarily a members component to it. And so EasieOps can handle both the organization level and member-specific tracking and activities. Then you've got your task tracking functionality, where if you've ever used something like a Jira or an Asana or a Monday.com, you have your task tracking activities here. So you can look at your tasks and you can mark them as different statuses, and it's super interesting. So you can associate tasks with individual projects or with individual bills, which we'll show you more of. You also have this board functionality where you can drag the tasks to different statuses, and it's quite easy to kind of visualize the pending, in progress, and completed tasks on this board. In addition to that, you also have a task calendar. And if you want to create new tasks, it's very easy to do that and assign them to people. Okay, so then we've got the document section. So within the document section, you've got some interesting features. Number one, you have the ability to upload your own documents for reporting and analysis. And then you've also got your bill tracking section, which I'll show you in a moment. But when you can upload your own documents, you can also interact with them and use the different reporting features that I'm about to show you. So now you've got your advocacy section, where you've got your Connecticut-specific advocacy module here. And so starting with bills, what's cool about this is there's a couple of interesting features. Number one, you've got this built-in tracking where the data is automatically being pulled as it's available from the CJA website at different frequencies. So right here we've got demo data, so we've only got 6 bills, but obviously in a real-world scenario this would represent thousands of bills in a given legislative session. And what you've got here is a detail view, but then you've also got this table view. So you've got different ways to visualize this data. And what's great about this too is when you're looking at this, you can see the data on a high level, and you can drill down as necessary. So you've got kind of this detailed section. So as you're drilling down for more information after you've clicked a bill, you've got this capability to actually review much richer data. And so what's cool about this is in addition to being able to create AI-generated summaries of bill text when it's released, we can also create member-specific summaries. So sometimes you've got this situation where a specific stakeholder or member has a specific position on a bill, and you want the summary to reflect that as opposed to it just being a single summary or a generic summary. You can customize these things so different types of stakeholders can have different summaries as new bill text and amendments are being released, which is pretty cool. So what I'm showing you here and what I've shown you so far is internal facing features. There are external facing features that I'll show you as well. So now you've got this bill metadata that's associated with your bill, and so you have the ability to filter based on different activities that are occurring. So you've got your bill history, your committee actions, your called amendments, your bill text, etc. And all of this is shown in a chronological fashion. And it's cool because if you click on this metadata, you can actually visualize the different documents that are being released. And so that's pretty cool. One thing that I want to mention too is that as you're viewing this, if you ever did want to go and look at the CGA website, you actually can do that by clicking on the metadata and reviewing the site directly. So that's quite cool. If you have multiple users, another feature that's quite interesting is you can actually comment on the bill. So you can say something like, let's check this bill out further. And you can leave comments. So that's quite cool. So in addition to that, you can create tasks that are associated with a specific bill. So I've got a task here, and you can see that it's associated with this specific bill. And you can also leave comments and attachments, etc. in projects and assign them to different people. Okay, so then when you're in this overview page, you also have the ability to chat with the bill in natural language using our fine-tuned AI model. So we can ask questions like, who is affected by this bill? So you can ask it these questions, and as it's doing this sort of analysis, it's super interesting because we've got this 61-page document, and the AI is fine-tuned to be able to answer questions specifically about this specific bill, this specific topic that we're asking about, and the specific document that you happen to be viewing at the time. So this bill, we're passing the data to it, we're passing files to it, and it's configured in a way to give these very detailed and accurate answers, and answers that you can send to other people, you can copy-paste it, so we've got a response here. And so again, if I wanted to copy this, I could just click that right there. And if I wanted to, I could also create tasks around these responses. So it's quite interesting. You've got this pretty detailed response. And so as you can see, it gave me this kind of longer response for longer documents. But the answers can be configured to a specific type of format or type of response if you're looking to customize that in the way that it's answering questions in this chat. We found that this sort of broken down section where it's giving you citations and page numbers and sort of this high level detail is usually pretty good, but this can be configured. So like I just mentioned, what's cool about this is it not only gives you these detailed answers, but it gives you the exact sections and page numbers. So let's go to one of these citations here. So let's see. So we've got State agencies and training related to AI systems and the potential for pilot projects. So let's see, we've got section 23, page 47 right here. So we'll go to page 47, go to section 23, there's that. Quite interesting, so let's see. So we've got potential pilot projects mentioned here in section 23 on page 47. So that's quite interesting. You can kind of drill down further within the document and actually see the sort of real world answers in the bill as you're interacting with it. So it's quite accurate, quite interesting, and again, can be configured further if you wanted it to say, section 23, subpart 3, subpart C, for example. So it's pretty cool and something that definitely can be, further configured. And so as we're moving forward, let's see. So another thing you can do is, if you click another one of these documents that exists, you can ask that questions as well. And so looking at this different file, you could ask it a question. So let's see. What are the no vote, or we could say who were the no votes on this roll call vote? And again, you could misspell the word. You could need to use punctuation. You can kind of ask it in quite a natural language setting. So it gave me the answer. So it says the no votes on this roll call vote were, let's see, so we've got Rob Sampson. There he is. We've got Tony Hine. There he is. We've got Eric C. Berthel. There he is. And then Ryan Fazio. Quite interesting. And so very detailed, useful analysis that's occurring here. So another interesting thing about this AI-driven functionality is you don't necessarily need to use the chat functionality to get these super specific questions answered. So oftentimes you're in a situation where a new bill text is released or a new amendment is released, and you need information answered about that. So these things are released on the CGA site, and you immediately want to answer specific detailed questions about what the contents say. And so the questions could be, are these related to the workforce? Are these related to water? Are these related to retail? All kinds of super specific questions. You could ask, is it education related, youth empowerment program related? Are these related to XYZ initiatives? And all kinds of other things. So during onboarding, we'll configure this for your organization where you can have the AI system automatically answering questions about bill activities in a way that A, we would configure this in the beginning in your organization settings, and then B, you can then configure this manually for your clients and for your organization after the fact. And having the AI system review this makes it so it can flag the text, and if it meets any of the criteria that you're asking about, it can then send this to you in a task for review to decide whether or not to track the bill or interact with it further. So obviously very interesting because you can have these natural language questions and you can have it sort of search automatically rather than having to manually interact with it. This can really meaningfully speed up your processes in your government affairs activity. So the next thing I want to show you is a really interesting feature called semantic search, where one of the pain points that we've heard in bill tracking and sort of interacting with bills is you have this situation where people are doing searches based on keywords, where you might be tracking 200 different keywords, and in these sort of traditional systems, you're searching based on exact match. You're searching, does this have these words in it, yes or no? And that can be a little limiting when you're talking about legislative activity specifically, because A, exact match search obviously is important, and that's something that the system can handle, but oftentimes maybe you don't spell the word completely correctly, or maybe sometimes you want to be searching based on concepts as opposed to actual keywords. So this idea of semantic search is interesting because you might have a concept like environmental justice, for example. Conceptually related bills might not necessarily have these exact words in it. So as an example here, let's say that we're searching based on looking for bills related to senior citizens or the elderly, et cetera. And you can think of all kinds of different keywords, use cases that you might be trying to track around this. But in this case, you can just search based on concepts, like I said. So for example, I know that 100% of these bills will not contain the word old people. But if I search old people, it's conducting this semantic search where it's able to get conceptually relevant bills. So we can see a return one option here, an act supporting Connecticut seniors in the improvement of nursing home-based care. So like I showed you up here, in addition to being able to automatically search contents based on natural language questions, you can also do this semantic search along with exact match search and keyword search. You can do this conceptually related search when new bills or new bill text is released. So very helpful for these kinds of activities. Okay, so then obviously when we're talking about this too, when you're getting these alerts, we have configurable notifications that during your onboarding, we would also be configuring your notifications. And so sometimes you want to be receiving an email. Other times people want to receive spreadsheets or PDFs, et cetera. So we would configure your specific notifications as part of that onboarding process. We find that every group conducting government affairs has slightly different ways of doing notifications. So that's something that as part of the onboarding, we would help you get configured. Okay, so then the next thing I want to show you is stakeholder reports. And so this is super helpful whether you're taking positions as an organization-wide basis, or if you have clients or members, you need to track their positions for this bill. As you can see, we've got this position section where you can see in this example, you've got two different members tracking their positions. So if you're Amazon, for example, and you've got this AI bill, you can specify whether you're supporting it or not. You've got these different types of positions that you can take, so it's not just neutral, oppose, or support. There's kind of a little more granularity in there. And you can also add this sort of rich information in natural language about their position. So in addition to tracking the positions on a per stakeholder basis, you've got the stakeholder report section, and you can create these reports. So when you create a report for a specific member or for your organization, you've got this URL that gets generated. And this can be a public URL or a private URL, depending how you configure the settings, which I will be showing you. And that link is created automatically. And so what's cool about this is, so this is a stakeholder report for a given bill and for a given stakeholder. And you've got these entries that are associated with this bill. So oftentimes when you are sort of historically doing reporting, again, some people do just want to send like a single spreadsheet and it's got all the bills related to that specific client, and that's all good. And that's definitely something that we can do. But other times they are sending individual report files for a specific bill. And you have these situations where historically people are getting sent all these PDFs, it's getting buried in their email, you have to use a Dropbox folder or something, and it's hard to kind of keep track of everything that has happened. And so in this case, based on these reports, you have all of the different entries that you've released. So say you have sort of 5 different reports or 5 different sort of memos that you've created about this bill. You can track all of them here in the single spot, and then you have this URL that can be viewed for sort of keeping track of all of those past things. And so if I go to this entry, there's a section here, so I'm just going to delete this first section. And so what's cool about this is the format can be edited. So right now you have sort of this default format where you would have your company logo, your company name, you've got the sort of stakeholder name, the bill, title, etc., the date. And within the different sections you can add to this report, you have text, image, and video that you can add. And if necessary, we can add audio as an additional type of media, but oftentimes we're seeing text, images, and video as sort of what people want to be adding. But you have the capability to add that, and you have the capability to create these sections. So when you're creating text, what's very cool about this is that you can actually use AI to speed up the generation of these reports. So let's just say, in this case, we already have our position about Amazon, but let's just, we could add a little more detail. We could say, we don't even have to add this. This is optional for generating with AI, but let's just say we want to give it a little more context. We could say, Amazon wants to train their new LLM without regulation. And you can generate with AI to create that section. Philosophically, probably should have some level of regulation on AI, but that's a conversation for another time. And so as this is generating, you've got this output that gets created. And when you have it here in this section, you can then edit it further. So if I wanted to say, here is more info for this section, or if I wanted to delete a whole paragraph, I could edit this before I add it into the report. And this is obviously quite long, but if you wanted to, we could also customize this section where we could have it be more based on your brand voice and the length that you'd like these different sections to be. And so there's a lot more kind of granularity we can do with this sort of generative reporting support. So we edited the text, we'd say whatever we want, and then we added the section. So once you add it, it actually automatically appears in this entry. And so then if I go to the actual report, I click this link, and what's cool about this is, again, this is either a public or private facing report. So you could make it so anybody viewing this link could see something like this. But you could also make it so only people that you share the information with can see it. So I've clicked the URL. This is sort of what the external facing report would look like. Again, if you wanted to do, we could just have it so it emails spreadsheets and PDFs, but you also have this option as well. And so you have this client-specific summary where, again, for Amazon, for example, we could have it generate a summary based on what Amazon opposing this bill might look like. Sometimes you see these summaries and they're very sort of generic or sort of one size fits all, and that sometimes can be problematic. And so you've got the client-specific summary, you see their position, and then you also see that other data that we saw kind of in the internal section where you've got all the bill history, the different documents that are being released, and if the client wanted to, they could pull up one of these documents. And so it's super cool. They could also go right to the CGA website, which is fantastic. And if you gave permission, the client could also leave comments here as well. And so they have the ability to comment on this, which the comments are only something that's possible for private-facing reports at the moment. We found that sort of public-facing reports, they don't generally want people to leave comments. And again, sort of this concept of a single source of truth for this bill, we can have all of the past memos that were published sort of be visible in this section here. So if you've created 5 memos, you can see all that. And for private-facing reports, you can see all the past reports that have been created and shared with you as well. And so in this case, you've got 2 different bills. And so you've got these different sort of action alerts for these people where you've had reports shared with them. And so it's quite cool. And again, you can see in this case, there's sort of past memos that have been created. Quite cool. And you've got sort of this test information here, but you've got these different entries that have been created that are all kind of stored in one place. So that's quite cool, and they can see all that. Okay, so then coming back to the stakeholder internal report view, if you have the sort of different requirements, again, for different groups, you can configure these settings internally. And so this is quite interesting because you can specify whether you want to show past entries in the report history. If you don't want to show past memos, that's totally okay. If you want to show the bill history in the report, and even if you want the report to be public. So if the report's not public, you have to enter emails of who you want to share the report with. And then if it is private, you can specify whether you want to allow comments. So that's quite useful for exactly what you want the report to look like from a configuration standpoint. So it's quite configurable in that regard if you choose to use this feature as opposed to just notifications sent via email, via spreadsheets and PDFs. Quite configurable for sure. I should also mention that you can export your tracked bills, you can export bills period, you can export tracked bills for a given client and see kind of their past or their latest status, et cetera, and sort of all those standard features that go along with tracking. So overall, in conclusion, that's an overview of our EasieOps government affairs portal for Connecticut. This has been the desktop view that I've shown you, and there's a few features I didn't go as far into, like the notifications tracking and your saved searches, et cetera, as well as sort of the mobile functionality where you have a mobile view that you can take to the Capitol with you. But hopefully this was informative, and looking forward to hearing from you, and please let us know if you have any questions.